Sit down. Sit down right there. Yes. Let me tell you a tale. Come, young one. Sit and warm your polystyrene bones by the synthetic fire. And let me tell you a tale of the time before the mediocre meat machine loomed so forebodingly in the distance. It was a time when the hidden dimensions were still a mystery to the obsidians, the ones that spread the darkness we now experience as reality. Now, I'm sure you know, this was a time when the cosmic tyrant Imperiex hungered to reignite the universe in a new Big Bang. But alas, his cataclysmic scheming would result in the splitting of the ephemeral nuclei that we now know are the basic building blocks of human consciousness. Of course, the positronic pathways are composed of semiconductors and must be stimulated chemically if one wishes to induce a catatonic state of hyper-awareness. Now, I think we all know that there's a whole universe full of electromagnetic energy which the cyborgs utilize to control the unenlightened ones. I mean, think about it. Cosmic rays, gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet radiation, visible light, infrared radiation, microwaves, and even something as seemingly innocuous as radio waves being beamed directly into your cranium by the higher ones that permeate the outer reaches of the cosmic spectrum. Well, let me tell you, you can forget about the physics of string theory and focus your attention on mirror symmetry, because the mathematical probability indicates that the ancient ones created fast food restaurants to nourish the masses that dwell deep within the heart of the ancient American megaplex. A green glow is said to represent a cold light that feeds the soul's desire for spiritual growth and can often be indicative of a forward-thinking nature. Now, we, the denizens of the elegant universe, must wage spiritual warfare if we intend to unfurl the curled-up dimensions. Perhaps you've heard tell of a time when trans fats were a staple of humanoid consumption. That was before the knowledgeable ones arrived and enlightened us as to the nutritional value of convenience store edibles. Well, from my perspective, the caloric content of the now archaic Twinkie is inextricably linked to its high content of animal fat. It's been almost 400 millennia since naked atomic nuclei danced around in a cosmophonic vacuum and arranged themselves into the shapes which represent the universal cosmic mind. But, you know, I would not venture to say that the replacing of classical momenta by quantum ones has been an unambiguous procedure. You should try to understand this. It's mainly because of non-commutation between the quantum mechanical integer and its corresponding permutations. As difficult as this may be to accept, I assure you this is precisely the way Yaldabaoth has planned it from the creation of the ionosphere and its surrounding celestial bodies. And thanks to the knowledgeable ones, we now know that long pig is the most nutritionally sound flavor of meat paste we can acquire by searching the abandoned husks of 21st century convenience bunkers. But you already knew that, didn't you, young one? Well, I can see that you are much more interested in the high-minded stuff of cerebral dreams. Hell, you probably have a burning desire to hear about the non-locality of gravitational potential energy. Yes, it's true that the twin planets are constantly in flux, and the scientific ones attempt to measure their energy density through the deployment of energy momentum tensors. This process can be quite costly and is paid for by the blood, sweat, and tears of the unenlightened who dwell in the lower levels, where cosmic rays dare not penetrate. Yes, they farm the photophobic fungus that the wealthy denizens of Zyklonic Corp desire so strongly that they are willing to pay dearly for as much as they can get their greedy hands on. As to the seemingly apocalyptic nature of the current cosmic stratagem, I would advise you not to waste your time pondering the possible outcome of a war between worlds. Some may say the relationship is parasitic, but I myself have often said that a relationship of any sort can be beneficial to all parties involved as long as the survival of the species is assured. So don't ask me about supersymmetry or superdimensionality, because I am, without a doubt, one of the foremost experts on such matters, and I have sworn to withhold my considerable knowledge secure in my cranium for as long as it is necessary. For once all the vibrations dissipate, there is certainly going to be a finite number of degrees of freedom. And those vibrations correspond to a specific set of numerals that can only be described as spherical harmonics. But I know what you're thinking. Isn't it all just rocks on the road to reality? Well, take my advice. Look at it another way. Isn't the evolution of the various sentient species that inhabit this and other biospheres merely a continuing journey toward a state of hyper-reality? I mean, one could go so far as to claim that Earth Prime was nothing more than an archaic example of how not to inhabit a celestial organism. Seriously, can it really, honestly, can it truly be said that the positronic pathways of the divine are benevolent when all the data we have gathered in the last 4 millennia indicates otherwise? It would be foolishness to assume such a thing. And I know you well enough to know that you're not like the others. You wouldn't tie your mother down just for a particle of lunar radiation floating in the nether regions of Alpha Sector 6. Isn't it safe to assume that if the history of the cosmos is consistent, then the future has, one way or another, been predetermined by Yaldabaoth and his minions? I don't know about you, but my lifelong search for gnosis has left me more befuddled than I ever thought possible when I was your age. So listen, if you really want to visit strange planets and explore every corner of the hyper-universe, you should start stockpiling your supply of long pig flesh paste. It'll behoove you, believe me. I mean, listen to me now and you'll save yourself a lot of grief in the long run. Because many are called, but few are chosen. I mean, a very wise old Thanagarian once told me, beware the voice that whispers a lie and screams the truth, for the day of reckoning may be just around the corner, and you best be prepared lest you be caught off guard. Always check the index notation before you dive right into a sea of pseudo-symplectic inedibles. In the end, you get what you get and you don't get upset, do you? Don't expect your astronaut ice cream to melt. Because you know darn well it's freeze-dried and stored on Valeria 12, along with the chemicals necessary to generate plastics that need to be plentiful enough to supply the triliptical Megatron. Know what I'm saying? Well, do you know what I'm saying, kid? It's really true what they say about space-time.